Let's begin not with a rant, but with an autopsy. We are here to dissect the death of a certain kind of casual trust, the unraveling of a social ritual, and the profound market correction currently sweeping through the world of restaurants. This isn't just about expensive burgers. It's about a broken covenant, the rise of financialization in the dining room, and the quiet, powerful rebellion of the everyday customer. For generations, the restaurant existed in a unique space within our economy and our culture. It was not merely a place of commerce, it was a stage for celebration, a sanctuary for the weary, a neutral territory for connection. The transaction was always there, yes, but it was wrapped in the velvet glove of hospitality. We understood the basic economics. We paid a premium over the cost of groceries. That premium bought us labor, skill, atmosphere, and the profound luxury of not having to cook or clean. The margin for the restaurateur was famously slim. 3 to 5% pre-tax profit was considered a triumph. This fragility bred a certain solidarity. When times were tough, communities would rally around their local spots. The restaurant was a worthy, if precarious, institution. Then came the triple shock of the 2020s, a pandemic that shuttered dining rooms, an inflationary spike in food and energy costs unseen in decades, and a seismic shift in the labor market, with workers demanding, rightfully, better wages and conditions. The industry stood at a crossroads. This was a genuine existential crisis. The path forward required painful, fundamental choices. But a vast and vocal segment of the industry, supported by a new era of hospitality-focused venture capital and grueling investor expectations, chose a different path. They chose the path of obfuscation, the path of the fee. This was not simply passing on costs. This was the birth of a new and predatory strategy, the fractional monetization of the dining experience and the exploitation of residual customer empathy. Let's dismantle this fee-based economy piece by piece, because each fee tells a story of misplaced priorities. First, the health and wellness, or sanitation fee. Born during the pandemic's peak, this fee initially purchased enhanced cleaning, PPE, and air filtration. But as the crisis waned, the fee remained. Its persistence transformed its meaning. No longer a specific charge for a specific service, it became a vague toll for the basic, non-negotiable expectation of a clean and safe environment. It subtly shifted the burden of fundamental operational responsibility onto the customer. It was like a car dealership charging a mechanical soundness fee on top of the MSRP. Then, the kitchen appreciation fee, or back-of-house support. This one is particularly cynical. It leverages our cultural respect for the unseen, overheated heroes of the kitchen. It tugs at our heartstrings. But investigative reports from publications like the San Francisco Chronicle and Eater have repeatedly found these fees are rarely, if ever, distributed directly or fully to the back-of-house staff as a supplemental bonus. Instead, they often flow into general revenue, used to cover rising baseline costs that ownership should be managing. It is a tip in spirit that doesn't tip the intended workers. It is philanthropy where the donor doesn't get the tax deduction and the beneficiary never sees the check. Most pernicious of all is the living wage, equity, or benefits surcharge. This fee represents the absolute pinnacle of financial and moral engineering. It takes an unimpeachable goal, paying staff a dignified wage, and makes achieving it the customer's direct line item responsibility, while allowing the restaurant to maintain the illusion of lower menu prices. This is a profound abdication of the employer's core function. Structurally, it ensures that labor costs remain a variable, customer-dependent expense rather than a fixed cost of doing business baked into the price of the goods sold. It uses the language of social justice to execute a business model that is, at its core, avoiding unnecessary and difficult pricing conversation. It makes the diner feel guilty for an economic reality they did not create. This ecosystem of fees created what behavioral economists call price partitioning, or drip pricing. The listed menu price is a lure, an anchor point. The final bill is a series of small, painful increments. Studies, such as those cited by the Federal Trade Commission on Consumer Protection, show this tactic increases overall spending because it frustrates comparison
and paralyzes the customer's decision-making at the point of payment. You're not comparing a $32 entree to a $28 entree. You're comparing a mystery final cost to another mystery final cost. The restaurant has turned the closing moment of the experience, the settling of the bill, into a moment of anxiety and distrust. Consider the competition that didn't exist a decade ago. 1. The hyper-premium home kitchen. The rise of the foodie culture at home, turbocharged by pandemic habits. For the cost of 2 fancy restaurant meals a month, you can invest in a professional-grade oven, a sous vide machine, or a premium knife set. Online markets like Crowd Cow or Porter Road deliver chef-quality steaks and heritage ingredients directly to your door. YouTube tutorials from world-class chefs are free. The gap between what you can achieve at home and what you get at a mid-tier restaurant has narrowed dramatically. 2. The grocery store as restaurant. Whole Foods, Wegmans, Eataly, and high-end local grocers have massively expanded their prepared food sections. These aren't tired rotisserie chickens and sad pasta salad. They are curated restaurant-quality offerings, organic roasted vegetable platters, sushi-grade poke bowls, artisan wood-fired pizzas, sous vide short ribs. You can assemble a gourmet feast for a family of 4 for the price of 1 restaurant entree with all its attendant fees. 3. The ghost kitchen and delivery ecosystem. While fraught with its own issues, services like Uber Eats and DoorDash have decoupled food from ambiance. Why pay for rent, decor, and service when all you want is a specific chef's burger? This has trained a segment of the market to value the product alone, further undermining the value proposition of the full experience. The data is unequivocal. According to Black Box Intelligence, while restaurant sales may show nominal growth, when adjusted for inflation, they are deeply negative. Traffic, the number of bodies through the door, has been falling consistently. A 2024 report from the National Restaurant Association itself noted that a majority of operators report lower customer counts compared to pre-pandemic levels. This isn't a pullback, it's a targeted retreat. The restaurants that are not just surviving, but thriving in this new landscape are those that have rejected the fee-based fog. They are models of clarity. The hospitality included model, pioneered by places like Joe's Crab Shack years ago and refined by modern leaders, these restaurants have abolished tipping. They set prices 20 to 25% higher, and that revenue funds a higher salaried wage for all staff, from dishwashers to managers. The bill you see is the bill you pay. The psychological relief for the customer is palpable, and staff stability skyrockets. The obsessive specialist, the tiny storefront that does one thing, the perfect banh mi, the life-changing bowl of tonkotsu ramen, the sourdough loaf that takes 3 days to make. Their value proposition is undeniable, their costs are controlled, and their authenticity is a magnet. The true community hub, the neighborhood bar and grill that functions as a living room. Its prices are fair, its owner is present, and its loyalty is to its regulars, not to an investor's ROI spreadsheet. It makes its margin on volume and longevity, not on financial engineering. So, what is the future? This reckoning is not the end of restaurants. It is the end of a flawed and exploitative version of them. The industry is undergoing a necessary, painful contraction that will separate the operators from the opportunists. The successful restaurant of tomorrow will understand that its foundation must be transparency. It will have the courage to state its true cost on the menu. It will see technology not as a way to add fees, but as a way to streamline operations, reduce waste, and enhance, not replace, human service. It will view its staff not as a cost to be offset by customers, but as the primary asset to be invested in. And it will recognize that the modern customer is not a passive wallet, but an informed, value-sensitive participant with more choices than ever before. The greed of the past few years was a gamble. It gambled that our desire for community and convenience was infinite, that our tolerance for manipulation was boundless. It was a bet on customer inertia. That bet has been called. The bill for that short-sightedness, for the wellness fees, the appreciation charges, the moral laundering of equity surcharges, has finally arrived. And as the empty tables in once bustling dining rooms attest, it is the restaurants that are being asked to pay up. They are learning the hardest lesson of hospitality. You cannot build a home
on a foundation of deceit. The table has turned.